What's that Dylan tour like?
That's awesome.
I mean, you're on the opening for Dylan acoustically, right?
That's killer.
Yeah, I never saw him.
Yeah, apparently he just hides out, right?
He summoned.
Appears.
He summoned Dave, and I heard that he would watch our sound checks every once in a while, but like,
we'd been on the tour for maybe 4 or 5 shows, 4 shows maybe, and someone came up and said, "Hey, Dave, Bob wants to talk to you," and I'm like, "Bob who?" And they said, "Dylan." I'm like, what did I do? Did I say something bad, or what did I do? They're like, no, I just want to say hi. So I walked out. It was in some hockey arena, and they're like, yeah, he's right down that hallway. Just turn the corner. Remember that scene from Casino?
Yeah.
Where Robert De Niro says to Sharon Stone, like, no, it's right there.
Yeah, and he keeps
right through there.
walking.
The next one, right through that door where they're gonna whack her. Yeah. That's how it felt. And he was like, they're like, it's right down that hallway. Take a left right there.
it was Goodfellas, and it wasn't Sharon Stone. It was the other girl, the chick who plays the girl in The Sopranos.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to get that, you know.
Thanks, Taylor.
Sharon Stone does not need any more credit.
No more credit for Sharon.
Anyway, so I walk down this hallway, just like in Goodfellas, and I walk down the hallway, and I turn the corner, and I just see this dude, leather pants, black leather boots, black leather jacket with a black hoodie, standing up against the wall, just like that. I'm like, oh, that's Bob Dylan, man. And so I walk up like, how about, hey, how you doing? He's like, oh man, how's it going? And we talked for a little bit, and he was totally cool. He's like, man, what's that song, Everlong? And I said, yeah. He's like, oh, you gotta show me that song. I want to play that. It's like, dude, you have enough good songs. you don't need
your own
mine.
songs, man.
Yeah. Hands off my song, Bob.
But that's the same. But isn't that the same song that Letterman wanted you to play when he came back?
Yeah.
It's a pretty powerful song.
I guess.
It's touring with Dylan, man.
Dude, you got to do it once in your life, right?
Absolutely.
I recommend it to everybody.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, girl, right on.
Did I ever tell you about my Bowie email exchange?
No, tell me about that Bowie email exchange.
We played at his 50th birthday party at Madison Square Garden. And that was the last time I saw him. So that was in 1997. About 2 years ago, I got approached by this movie to do a song for the movie. So I thought, well, maybe I'll have someone else sing. I'll do the music and then have another vocalist. And I thought, well, maybe I'll ask and see if David would want to do it.
God, that's reaching high, man.
I know. So the next day I get an email and it says, David, I watched the movie and I gotta be honest, it's not my thing. He said, I'm not made for these times. So thanks, but I think I'm gonna sit this one out. And I thought, oh man, what a bummer. So I immediately email back and say, no worries, I totally understand. I hope you're well, and I'll see you around. And I hit send, and within like a minute and a half, I get an email back from him. And it says, all right, well, that's settled in. Now, fuck off. And I'm like, whoa. Is he kidding? Like, I couldn't tell. So I emailed back. I said, well, I guess I'll see you in another 16 years. And he immediately sends one back. It says, don't hold your breath.
Oh.
So I send back one that says, what, no more birthday parties at Madison Square Garden? And he writes back, no more birthdays, I've run out of them.
Dark.
But then he wrote, but that was a really fun night, wasn't it? And I didn't think about it until recently when he passed away. It kind of made me wonder, looking back at everything, if he felt like maybe he was running out of birthdays, you know? And to not hold your breath.
He meant it.
Kinda. It trips me out now that I think about it. But he would also do things like email me in March and say like, well, Happy New Year. Like 3 months too late. You know?
We're celebrating 25 years of the Foo Fighters this year, and there was going to be the Back in the Van tour. That's been cancelled for the time being. But I'd wanted to ask, what's the worst thing you've ever seen happen in a tour van?
Oh my God, dude.
I mean, years and years and years and years and years of those stories. I mean, here's the most disgusting thing.
Go on.
The first Foo Fighters tour we did in this Dodge van. It's a red 15-passenger Dodge van. We had all the equipment in it. We had all the guys in it. Everybody slept in it. We still have it. It's still in the parking lot of my studio. And there was usually when you walk off stage, you're soaking wet. And I took off my shirt and I threw it in the back of the van. The platform that we had built in the back of the van was made of wood. We would put all the gear under the platform and we would sleep on top of it. It was like 1995. We brought the van home from tour, got all the gear out of the back, and I looked, and that T-shirt that I'd thrown in there was still in there. It'd been there for like a month. And it was resting against this wooden beam on the platform. And I picked up the T-shirt and I looked under it, and mushrooms were growing on the beam.
I mean, it comes with experience, I guess. Life on the
mushrooms, dude. There was so much fungus in that van. Mushrooms were growing in the van, unbeknownst to us. We were like driving around playing rock shows, and there's mushrooms in our van.
The question is, what happened to that shirt?
I probably put it in the dryer and put it back on again.
It was worn that night.
I was living in Seattle. I moved into a house that was a brand new house. No one had lived in it yet. The first day I walked in there to look at the house, there was another family looking at the house, and this woman, who was kind of a jerk, fell and broke her ankle on the steps that went from the big basement room up to the top, right? And I thought, ooh, that's weird. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get the house. She's going to sue the guy and whatever. So I move into the house after like 3 months after I buy it. I move in there alone. I don't have any furniture, and it was kind of a big house. One night I was up in my bedroom, and something went on the wall. Swear to God, really hard. So much that I thought that someone had like knocked on the side of the house and ran, whatever. So that was the first weird thing. It went on to stuff like doors opening sometimes in the night, just feeling like someone was around you. But the worst part was downstairs in the basement. You always felt like there was someone behind you. And whenever you went up the steps, you felt like someone was chasing you back up the steps, right? Boy. So, and me and my ex-wife, we were living there together, we would just talk about it. Like, finally I was like, God, I came running up the stairs and I said, man, every time I'm down there, it feels like there's someone behind me. She goes, oh my God, me too. And I never said anything. She was scared to go down there. So this one night we were down there watching TV. Motion detectors are going off, but there's no one there, kind of thing, and really weird. So then this woman, this friend of ours who would come over and work downstairs in the, whatever, she, on Halloween, we were like, let's tell ghost stories and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And she says, you know what's weird? Whenever I'm downstairs in your house, it feels like there's someone right behind me. I'm like, no way, and we never said anything. So then I started having these dreams about this woman, this like Native American woman, and I had 2 or 3 of them, and it's just the same woman in every dream, where she had like frizzy, crazy brown hair, and she was wearing this dress, and she didn't have any shoes on, and she was kind of dirty, and I'd come walking down the hallway and see her, and she's just like staring at me, you know, and I'd be like, oh my God, and wake up. Anyway, so all this stuff started happening, and one night we whipped out a Ouija board. Right? And Nate was there. Nate was there. He's my witness that we played with the Ouija board, and I swear to God on my life, it was working. Other people were like, what's my social security number? And it wouldn't say anything, you know? And then we sat down, and me and my ex-wife were sitting there, and she's like, okay, is there something in the house or something, or is there a ghost in the house? And it's totally fluid movement, kind of went in this circle over to yes, right? And I'm watching her fingers to make sure that she's not pushing it, because she also wanted to move. But, so I'm watching it, and it's like, did someone die here? And it spelled murdered. Oh. Swear to God. And then we said, were you murdered here? And it spelled my baby. Oh. And then we asked,
the real estate agent,
like, when did it happen or whatever? And then we asked, like, why are you here? And it spelled new house. And then I said, like, are you only downstairs? And
you get little goosies.
It said no. And I said, are you the woman that I see in my dreams? And it said yes.
Actually, I'll tell one more story and then I'll play a song. So, we were at a party, and Paul was there, and we're hanging out, having fun, and there was a piano in the room. And Paul gets up and starts playing a song. And amazing. By the way, just so you know, Paul McCartney is the baddest motherfucker in the world. I don't know if you know that already. He really is. You kind of forget that not only is he the coolest, but he's also the best. So he's cool, man. It's fun to hang out with. So he gets up on the piano, he starts playing the song on the piano. It was in the house, so it was in the living room. And it's blowing everyone's fucking mind. It's so cool. New song. Wow. New Paul song. Weird. And then he finishes the song, and everybody looks at me and they're like, "Go on, Dave, play a song." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know how to play piano." Like, I don't know what to do, man. I can't play fucking piano. And then I look around, and all Paul McCartney's left-handed. So all the guitars are left-handed. God, I'm screwed. What do I do? And also, I maybe smoked a little pot, so I was already challenged enough. And like, oh my God, what do I do right now? What's going on? And all of a sudden, Taylor Swift stands up. She's like, "I'll play a song." It's like, oh, thank God, Taylor Swift's here. Like fucking Batman when you need him. Wow. So she gets on the piano, and I think like, okay, I'll just fucking, I'll jam with her. So I pick up one of Paul's left-handed basses off the wall. I'm super high. She starts playing, and I'm just trying to figure out how to play along to what she's doing. And it was kind of like one of those nightmares where you're running backwards, or you're always late for whatever you gotta go to. And she was playing this really beautiful thing on piano. And I look at my wife, I'm like, I know this fucking song. What the hell is this? And she was fucking playing our song, Best of You. And as if I weren't high enough. That fucking blew me into outer space, man. I was just like, wait a second, Taylor Swift, Best of You, Paul McCartney, pot! Like, what? I just lost my mind. So I felt obligated to sit next to her and duet. But her voice, you know, she's got a good voice. She could sing, man, you know, that kind of shit. So I sat next to her and I did this. I've got another confession to make.
I'd seen Prince play before. I grew up listening to his music. And then he did this 21-night run at the Forum in Los Angeles. So of course, me and all of my friends are like, oh my God, we gotta go to at least one show. So we go down to one of the shows. We get in this big party bus, like 20 people. So by the time we pull up to the Forum, I'm like hammered. Okay, we've been partying the whole way in traffic down to the Forum. We get to the Forum, we go up to the little like VIP club thing. And our security guy, Kerwin, who also worked with Prince, comes up and says, hey, he knows you're here. He's gonna call you up to jam. And I was like, no, I'm already, like, I've had one too many already. I'm not going up there with Prince like this. Anybody else in the world, I would jump up on stage and make a mess. But Prince, no way. So after the show, Kerwin says, hey, he wants to meet you. I said, all right. And so he's like, stand over here. And there was kind of like these curtain things. He's just go in there, and I open up this curtain, and there's Prince and Sheila. And I'm just like my 80s brain exploded. I'm like, hey, what's up? And we start talking, and he said, yeah, we should jam sometime. And I said, absolutely. He goes, when do you want to jam? And I said, it's your show. Like, you're here for a month. What do you think? He goes, come back Friday. I said, cool. So I call my manager on Monday, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, I'm going to jam with Prince. I can't believe it. I just talked to him. This is amazing. He goes, I know. We sent him your phone number. And I sat with that phone in my hand for a week, on vibrate, sleeping with it near my head, the whole thing, waiting for him to call. He never called. So finally, by Thursday, I'm calling people like, what is he, like, what am I doing? Am I playing guitar? Am I playing drums? Are we doing a Prince song? Are we doing a Foo Fighters song? What are we doing? And they're like, just go down there. So that Friday, I go down there, pull into the arena. Kerwin says, he's not sound checking today, his voice is messed up. I'm like, okay, great. I go into catering, I eat something, and I think, okay, I'm just gonna go check to see if my gear is here. I walk out of the arena, there's empty arena, the Forum, it's empty. And I'm talking to my guitar tech, and all of a sudden, just like that SNL skit with Maya Rudolph, he just like appears. And I was like, he's wearing these like purple pajama things. And he goes, hey man. I'm like, hey. He goes, what are you doing here? And I said, I thought we were gonna jam. And he goes, you wanna jam? I said, yeah. He goes, you wanna play drums? I said, yeah. So I get up on his drummer's drum set. It was insane. Like I play a 4-piece drum set. This thing was like, it had 15 cymbals and shit. It was crazy. So I sit down, I start playing. He's kind of watching me. Then he looks at his bass player, he's like, give me the bass. And he picks up the bass and he starts playing bass. And now we're playing together. And he's kind of checking me out. And he's like throwing hand signal chord signs, like A or C. And this turns into this thing. No, empty arena, dude. Like nobody in there. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. It was amazing. And then we end, and he's like, wow. We're all like high-fiving each other. And he goes, man, you got a heavy foot. And I was like, yeah, I got a heavy foot. This is amazing. Then he picks up a guitar and starts playing A Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin. He's like, wow, wow, chicka, chicka. So I'm like, and it was awesome. It sounded so good. It was amazing. We do that for like 8 minutes. I'm like, oh God, this is the best band I've ever been in my life. This is unbelievable. And then we end it, and he's like, man, that's amazing. We should do that. I'm like, yeah, we should do that. And he goes, what are you doing next week? And I never saw him again. I had a school fundraiser. The end. Okay, so you have two options right now. You can either ask us the questions that you want to ask us, or I can tell you the funniest story you've ever heard in your life.
What do you reckon? I'm going to chuck these questions out.
Okay.
Go for it.
So,
This man can tell a story.
Yeah. Okay.
okay. So ages ago, in 1998, there was an Ozfest in England at Milton Keynes Bowl. Korn were supposed to play on it, and Korn canceled, right? But it was like Ozzy and Slayer and Anthrax and Pantera and like all these crazy, heavy bands. So Korn back out. They can't do the gig. So we get
Sabbath.
the call.
It wasn't Ozzy. It was Sabbath.
Sabbath. So we get the call. Hey, will you guys fill in for Korn? We're like, oh my God, you're crazy. Like, we're not a metal band. We'll get killed. Like, there's no way. So we decided to do it.
Yeah.
So we get down there. We're totally terrified. We get to the gig. Pantera's playing, and they are the most shredding metal band you've ever seen. There's 60,000 people going fucking bananas, and we got to go on after them. Yeah, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is nuts. So we go on, and I'm really nervous, and I look around the side of the stage, and as we're playing, I see all those guys from those bands watching us and singing the lyrics to our songs.
Yeah?
And I'm like, this is
That's
amazing.
cool.
So afterwards, we make friends with Pantera. Cool. Yeah, thanks, guys. So we make friends with Pantera. And, you know, they're just all about whiskey and boobs and whatever. It's like, yeah. So they give us their card. They have their own strip club. It's called the Clubhouse. It's outside of Dallas, Texas.
Of course they have their own
Of course.
strip
I
club.
mean,
Yeah.
it's just
Who
what
doesn't
you do.
in rock?
So we're like, he's like, man, and they're from Texas. So like,
Yeah.
anytime y'all are in Texas, man, you got to come down to the Clubhouse. It's great. And we're like, all right. So we finished the tour. And then I was living in Los Angeles at the time. And I was moving back to Virginia, where I'm from. So I put all of my stuff in my house on a truck, and Taylor and I jumped in my truck and did this Dumb and Dumber drive across America, right? So we were so excited, but we were
really doing it
basically-
here.
Yeah, this is 1998. We were basically like, we were routing our trip around like where our friends live and where the strip clubs are.
I've got the
I
mental
saw my
picture.
grandma.
Yeah, like, it was a real family trip. And
yeah.
so the first day, we're like, whoa, we're doing it, man. We're really doing it. We'd stop in like Barstow. It's like 5 hours outside of LA to get gas. We get gas. and we make it to Phoenix that night. We go to check into the hotel, and I had left my wallet on top of this gas tank in Barstow. I'm like, oh no, and I don't have credit cards or ID or anything like that. So I call my accountant. I'm like, man, just send me a credit card. Like I got nothing. So he FedExes one out. We keep driving. And I'm calling the Pantera guys. I'm like, all right, man, we're coming to the clubhouse. We're going to be there like Tuesday night. And they're like, hell yeah, it's going to be great. So we make this 800-mile detour to get to the clubhouse, to the strip club. We go out to dinner with Taylor's family. And we're like, all right, now we're going to go to the strip club. So we go out to the clubhouse and we get there. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be the best fucking night of our lives. This is going to be amazing, man. So we get there and we walk up and the guy's like, could I see some ID, please? And I'm like, oh,
no, you don't have your wallet.
yeah. Well, I lost my wallet on this trip. He's like, I can't let you in unless you got ID. I'm like, but we're friends with Pantera. He's like, everybody's friends with Pantera. I was like, oh my God. And we didn't get in.
No way.
We didn't fucking get in,
my
man.
God.
I was like, what the
Like, have you ever heard the song "Smells Like Teen Spirit"?
The guy's like, I'm
You
sorry, dude.
couldn't pull the-
I just
don't
can't
you
let
know
you
who
in.
I
I
am?
can't do it. I can't do it, man. I was like, went back to the hotel. I was fucking gutted. I was like, eh. So anyway, so we finished that trip. And a side note, about 4 years ago, I was at this
This is 10 years later.
this is at least 10 years later. I was like at this surf shop in Oxnard, California, just north of Los Angeles. And it was me, and I think my daughter, and I was buying something, and the girl at the counter, she says, "Are you Dave Grohl?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Did you lose your wallet in Barstow in 1998?
No.
And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "That was my parents' gas station." I'm like, "You're kidding me." She goes, "No, they still have your wallet." And I gave her my address, and she sent me the wallet with f***ing everything in it from 1998.
That deserves
except
a
the
round of
cash. The
applause.
end.
Seriously.